The newsday continues here in One News Now. I'm Diego Castro, bringing you the biggest headlines from around the world. Israel intercepts rockets sent by Gaza over Tel Aviv. A Reuters witness says they saw at least a dozen rockets flying over Tel Aviv's skyline around 10 p.m. on Sunday. The rockets were intercepted by Israel's Iron Dome missile defense system. So far, there have been no reports of casualties or direct hits in Tel Aviv. Rocket attack warnings were also issued for nearby city Givatayim. The Israel-Hamas conflict is nearing a month since it began, as thousands of individuals have been killed, while millions of Israelis and Palestinians have also been displaced from their homes. More on this report by the Associated Press.
وسلام
البيت لاهية
شفنا الدبابات، شفنا مرميين، شو مرمى يا عالم، عمرنا في التاريخ ما شفناها ولا في العالم كله شفناها. اليوم شفنا الدم، شفنا الشهداء محلل في الارض.
U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken arrived in Ankara, Turkey, where he's set to hold talks with his Turkish counterpart, Hakan Fidan, amid the Israel-Hamas conflict. Blinken is coming off a Middle East tour, which involved meetings in the West Bank, Tel Aviv, Amman, and Baghdad. This as the Arab world and some Western capitals stepped up calls for a ceasefire in the Israel-Hamas conflict. However, the top U.S. diplomat said such a halt right now would only allow Palestinian militant group Hamas to regroup and attack Israel again. Hours before Blinken's arrival, police in southern Turkey used tear gas and water cannons as hundreds of people at a pro-Palestinian rally tried to storm an airbase that houses U.S. troops. Washington is hoping to prevent a wider regional conflict and has stepped up diplomacy with regional countries whose populations have been angered by Israel's assault on Gaza. We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now World. I'm Diego Castro. Russia has successfully tested an intercontinental ballistic missile from a nuclear-powered submarine in the White Sea. Moscow's Imperator Alexander III carried out the launch of their Bulava missile on Sunday as final stage of the state testing program of the submarine. The missile was launched off Russia's northern coast and hit a target thousands of kilometers away in the Russian Far East. Moscow is currently building 3 more nuclear submarines. Search and rescue efforts in Nepal have been called off 36 hours after the 5.6 magnitude quake. Officials say the focus has now shifted to providing relief to survivors awaiting food and shelter. Survivors spent the night under the open sky after their mud houses were reduced to piles of rubble. At least 157 people were killed, while 100 others were injured when the quake rocked Nepal on Friday. The thick smog that blankets New Delhi has been causing trouble for the city's residents with no signs of letting up yet. The city battles the pollution every winter as cold, heavy air traps construction dust, vehicle emissions, and smoke from crop stubble burning in neighboring states. The smog, which began earlier this month, has prompted the emergency closure of schools as well as most construction work. Meanwhile, New Delhi's 20 million residents are complaining of irritated eyes and itchy throat amid the gray haze. Indian officials say they are not seeing immediate improvement in the air quality. And those are the top world headlines of the hour. Join us again at 9:45 a.m. as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. I'm Diego Castro. We are One News, all sides, all the time.